Hello there, Star Wars fans, and welcome back to another Rebelscum.com video review. And today we are reviewing the Boba Fett from Tython. So this is from that moment in The Mandalorian Season 2 where he looks over his shoulder, sees the open hatch of the Razor Crest, and goes, you know what? I'm going to go get my armor back real quick. I could probably use it in this fight. And he does, and it's one of the most glorious returns of a major character in Star Wars, and was so very well done. I love the return of Boba Fett. It was so awesome. So anyway, here he is in the packaging, and you can see him with his worn armor that's all scraped and not very well kept because, well, it was stripped off of him by some Jawas, and then they held on to it for who knows how long until they sold it to our boy Cobb Vanth. And the rest is history. So you can see him right there in the open window packaging. There's some artwork of him on the side, on the back. You got some words and things and some more of that artwork. And that's pretty much it for the packaging. And here he is right out of the packaging before we get his gear on. And he looks good. There are, however, a couple of minor issues with this mold. The two biggest issues this figure has, in my opinion, detail-wise, is the shoulder pads and the knee pads. Those are the two biggest issues. Now, I know they reused the same leg molds from both the Tusken Boba and the Throne Room Boba from the Book of Boba Fett, where they basically just reused the same legs from that one, and he's got the knee pads on underneath. On screen, when he first puts his armor back on for the first time, one, his knee pads are on the front, and two, the cloth bits or cloth sections of his thighs aren't as wide spread out like they are on the other figures. So I feel like they should have used different legs or even molded a new set of legs just for this Boba, just so that we're not recycling pieces and causing inaccuracies based off of what we saw on screen. That's one of the biggest issues. The other big issue with this figure is, of course, the shoulder pads. While they look good, they just copied the shoulder pads on the Throne Room Boba, just like they did with the legs here. And on screen, his armor pads are up here, attached to his chest armor entirely. So, very strange that they just recycled that again, and his armor pads are down here. Now, they're painted correctly. They look good. You've got the worn paint with the yellow and the mythosaur crest right there. The worn paint on this side as well. It looks cool. In fact, the wear and tear on his armor sections do look very good. I'm not dogging that whatsoever. Now, they could have put some weathering on this section too, but that's mostly going to be covered up by the jetpack here, which also looks very good. They just used the same jetpack that came with Cobb Vanth, which, why wouldn't they? It's exactly the same when he picks it up and puts it back on for the first time, save the swappable rocket that he comes out with when he has his armor back. And this is the correct model of rocket that he has when he puts his armor back on for the first time in The Mandalorian. So I'm glad that they got that correct. He does have a regular classic green Boba Fett rocket in his jetpack. You've got the big metal scar plate on the back of his jetpack that looks awesome. He comes with his helmet, which looks very good once put on. He comes with the same blaster rifle that the Throne Room Boba comes with, and the same blaster pistol that both Tusken Boba and Throne Room Boba come with. So here you go. You can put that in his hand, because he didn't have the other blaster rifle in that episode. He just had his pistol, his gaffy stick, and his cycler rifle from his days as a Tusken Raider. Now, I gotta say, I'm as glad as I am that we got this blaster rifle again, because it is a really cool blaster rifle. It's very Boba Fett. I would have preferred had instead of a re-release of this if we had gotten his gaffy stick again, because he did use the gaffy stick a good amount throughout that episode, and it would have looked way cooler with this instead of this. But that's just my opinion on that matter. What's yours in the comments? Not really a big gripe or something that Hasbro got wrong. Just accessory preference on my end. I just think the gaffy stick would have been better than this pack-in wise. But maybe you like the blaster rifle more, and there's nothing wrong with that. He does, of course, use this blaster rifle shortly after this episode. So, yeah, not a big deal that he comes with this. Again, my biggest gripes about the figure overall are just the inaccurate legs and the inaccurate shoulders. Other than that, it looks very good. The weathering looks good. The face sculpt looks good. It's nice and scarred up like it should be, like the Tusken Boba is, and there of course is Tusken Boba Fett for comparison and reference for you, so you can see them side by side. And here he is next to Throne Room Boba Fett from the Book of Boba Fett, where his armor has been cleaned up, has been freshly repainted, freshly reassembled, and looks really good. I was worried when we saw this figure get announced for release that they were just going to straight up repaint this figure. Now, there are parts of this mold where, yes, they did do that, but there are shared elements between this mold and the Tusken Boba that culminated into this figure. Again, I just wish Hasbro had taken the extra little bit of time to fix some of the inaccuracies between the two, because while this design is definitely a good blend of the other two figures that they had, and I'm all about, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Use the tools you have, use the pieces you have. They just didn't go all the way with it. So it is what it is. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Was this a Boba you tracked down because you have to have absolutely every Boba Fett? Was this your favorite Boba Fett? And if not, let me know what you didn't like about it in the comments, but in a kind way, if you don't mind. And real quick before we're done, his head is on a ball joint, fully articulated shoulders, no upper bicep joint, single jointed elbows. You can swivel the gauntlet on both ends, fully articulated wrist, waist, hips, upper thigh, single jointed knees on those big knee joints. He's got some big knees on him. A swivel joint right there below the knee, and ankle joints. So pretty good articulation on this figure. Pretty much the same articulation as the Throne Room Boba. But again, they did mix some of the pieces between the two figures to make this version of Boba. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's review featuring the new Black Series The Mandalorian re-armored Boba Fett when he gets his armor back on Tython from that incredible moment in The Mandalorian where we finally got the return of Boba Fett to live action. Very well done. So far, I've really enjoyed what they've been doing with the character of Boba Fett since they brought him back, and I'm looking forward to a Season 2 of the Book of Boba. Hopefully, it's a little bit more action-packed than Season 1, but that said, Season 1 did have its fair share of some really awesome action. Stay tuned for more Rebelscum.com content. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow us on social media. Turn on notifications, and make sure you check out the website every single day because there's daily content on Rebelscum.com. Don't forget to add your new Boba Fett to your profile on CollectorsOracle.com. And if you're not on Collectors Oracle, well, you want to sign up today so you can start managing your collection like a pro. We'll see you guys later. We'll see you another time. May the Force be with all of you. You Rebel Scum.